Most missionaries are making this one mistake and it is costing them thousands in support. That's what we're going to cover today on this episode of Fully Funded. Mary, good to see you.
Hi, friend.
Welcome.
Yeah, always a
Yeah.
good time.
We hope that you are doing well. Thanks for joining us today. Of course, I'm Mike Kim. And today we're going to focus on this problem where missionaries tend to leave money on the table. And Mary, this is something that we've seen over and over again. Obviously, you've seen a lot in your own career and working with not just missionaries, but also nonprofits. So what is the problem? What's this thing that we can do to shift this? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I think so many people, because and for good reason, they need more money, so they focus on the money, and instead of focusing on the reason why you need the money, and that's vision. And so I think that sometimes we get so locked up in our little bubble that we do live in that we need to pay for our bills, we need to cover our expenses, we got to put food on the table. Nobody's feeding your kids, right? Like you need to make sure that that money is in the bank. And so we have a tendency to just focus on that money and we forget that the person who's on the other end actually doesn't care so much about the money. They care a lot more about the impact and they care more about the difference that you're going to make in the world.
Yeah. I think we need to focus on vision instead of money. Now, when you're raising personal support, and we've heard this from so many of our members and so many of our students over the years and our clients, well, what if I'm just raising money for personal support for myself or for my family, for those needs? But that's part of the vision. We just had a call with our academy members a few weeks ago, and we've been working at this time of the year, especially working towards our year end giving campaign. And Mary, we were taking them through the financial
Yeah.
recap letter,
Yeah.
right? And some of the questions that we get was like, how do I categorize my own expenses and uh, gifts in kind? And can you help break that down for
Yeah.
everybody?
I do think that people get fixated a little bit on, well, what is the person on the other end going to think of me? If I have too much of our money going towards general, like just your cost of living and what it costs to actually do ministry. But to be honest with you, and this is what I did, one of the questions popped up in our private Facebook group, and I just was like, let's go ahead and take a look at a church budget. Okay. Let's just grab a church budget. What line item do you think is the largest line item in a church budget? The pastor.
The
Okay.
salaries, yeah,
The
the staff
salary.
salaries.
We
Yep.
don't have a church without a pastor. I mean, I'm maybe some of you guys do and you're very volunteer driven and volunteer led, but for the most part, the first person who gets paid is the pastor. And so that line item is going to be heavier than everything else. That is very normal in ministry. And so I think that this is where we just have to be okay with the fact that you are the primary part of the expenses and that you are the primary ministry expense along with that. And so that's where people kind of get a little bit caught up in, well, I don't want them to know exactly how much I make or how much money is actually going to pay for. And it's like, we need to just stop making excuses, stop apologizing for what it costs to actually do ministry. Because this is most of the time the numbers that our students and just any missionary is given from their sending organization. So it's not like you decided how much money you're going to make. They did a cost analysis. How much does it cost in that region, in that country, in that town for you to actually survive, to pay your bills, to cover that? So you're just putting numbers on a sheet of paper to say this is what it costs for us to do ministry. So I would just ease off the pressure of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm asking so much for ministry. But how we're breaking it down is really just cost of living and then those ministry expenses, like, maybe you're going to pay for Bibles or food for the poor. You're going to, buy coats for kids or whatever it is. That is all going to fall under your ministry expenses. You're going to have some fundraising expenses. People who join the work that we do, people who put on fundraisers, they're going to have some expenses in that fundraising category, and that's very normal. And then there's the admin costs. That's going to be normal as well. There's going to be administrative costs. Many of you have a sending organization fee. So you're going to have that line item in there anywhere from, I would say anywhere from five. I was actually talking to somebody, and some admin fees are all the way up to 20%, which I think is really high, but most of the time it's usually somewhere between that 5 and 12%, 5 and 15% of your expenses are going to go to your sending agency. So those are just normal. Get the numbers on a sheet of paper, be transparent, tell your donors where the money's going. That's going to give them confidence that you're going to be a good steward and that they know where the money's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And even as we've talked about this, just these few minutes, for example, our what we're talking about is what the numbers are. But what we're saying is, what do those numbers enable you to do? How do you look forward? I have noticed a tendency, and I'm not judging. I think I do this too, where oftentimes I hope for the future, but I look too much in detail at the past. I'm processing it. I think a lot of people fall into that, like, hey, what have we done? And we're not saying that don't to disregard that. You should talk about where you've spent money the last year, how it's gone. But I want to encourage everybody to look more forward, to be more future oriented, to be more vision oriented. If you had 10x the number of support that you have, like what would that enable you to do? One of the exercises that we do that really stretches our members is, what is the largest single donation you've received ever? And they'll privately write down a number. And then we say, add a zero. What would that feel like? What would that allow you to do? And I would say that some of us, we have our nervous system almost can't handle it. We're like, oh my gosh, that feels excessive. That's too much. But Mary, you've worked with multi-million dollar organizations, tens of millions of dollars coming in. What enables you to handle that amount of money is the vision. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the vision is why you need the money. I don't need money in the bank just to have money in the bank. Like the whole purpose of asking for the money is because the vision requires it. So I need those funds to pay the salaries of the team members, to pay for the resources, to if you're going to do a capital campaign or you're building a building, I need the money to pay for the tools, to pay for the product, to pay for the wood, to pay for the steel, to pay, it's like that's what we're paying for. We're just not collecting money in a bank account. Just yesterday actually, I was having a conversation with one of our students. We were doing a strategy call, and the first thing that they told me was just their monthly budget, their monthly shortfall, which is normal. That I asked, that's usually my first question is just how much are you trying to raise? Give me some numbers so that I really can understand where you're coming from. And they were saying that they had a shortfall of about $1,300 a month. They wanted to move the wife from part-time to full-time. And so they were doing actually really well with their finances. And I'm sitting here with my calculator trying to figure out the annual amount because I'm trying to figure out how big of an organization, how big of a ministry are you? And after about 15 minutes of us having this conversation, I finally got a good grasp on, oh, you're a $200,000 ministry. Now, this is a husband and wife. This isn't like a big, so this is many of you guys that, hey, it takes a lot for us to do this kind of ministry. But he was giving me numbers and data, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was like, you need to be asking for $250,000. It's like you need at least a $50,000 buffer here in order for you to actually move your ministry forward to the next season. And he just looks at me, he's like, I'm convinced. It's like, well, I'm glad that because I was pitching it to him because he gave me all of the information. I was like, okay, you're going to go from, I even have my numbers sitting here that it was like, they were going from eight countries to 12 countries. I'm like,
Mm,
that's incredible. We're going from 270 pastors to 340 pastors. I can put numbers on all that, but that's
mm.
what we're talking about. We're talking about the pastors. We're talking about the churches. I'm not talking about $250,000. I'm saying I want to reach 340 pastors, and it's going to cost us $250,000 to do it.
Yep. That's such a different frame, right? This you lead with the vision, and then the money is how you get there. One of the things that we do in this finance report letter, we encourage our members to send this out about early November. So by the time that you're watching this, it would be around this time. And we worked through this with our members just last week, right? So at the end of that letter, I wrote a section that's templatized, and I'm going to read this out. Our goals for next year in 2020, name the year, whatever year you're watching this. Our goal is to continue bringing aid or whatever your ministry does to the people of where you serve, your location. And while we understand that, quote, neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow, scripture reference 1 Corinthians 3:7, our goal is to keep overhead low and be good stewards of the seed that we have. And these are some of our goals. And we asked our students, just take 5 minutes and write down 3 of the big picture things that you want to do next year. It might be something on your heart to do, like plant one more church along the coast of the country. Or number 2, we want to increase the number of Bibles or jackets or clothes that we donate by 20%. Or we want to downsize the amount of overseas leaders, and we want to train people who are local leaders in the churches, right? Just something on your heart to do, something that you want to increase and something that you want to decrease so that it can have more effect in where you're serving. And we're always trying to be faithful stewards of the work God's given us and the financial support and the resources you've entrusted to us. And in a few short weeks, we're going to send you our final support letter of the calendar year. Our hope is that you'll partner with us in the seasons to come to further cultivate the work here. You are making a difference, and we thank you. And that's it, right? Our members are like, oh, it's that simple. Yeah, we don't need to change that wording. What we need from you is to communicate what the vision is that you have. And this frames up, now you have 2 touch points with your donors. You're giving them a recap of how things have gone this year. But while you're doing the recap, you're casting vision for the next year. And then when you follow up in a few weeks after that, especially in this very, very important year-end giving season, when you follow up, they kind of understand where this money's going and why it's being used. So yeah,
One
it's a
one
huge
thing that
part.
I absolutely love about the template that Mike you created for our students and what you were just reading is that you really Oreo cookie this so beautifully. Like it is like the front end you're saying, here's what we did in this last calendar year. Then we give the financials so that everybody has a really clear understanding of what does it take for us to do that. This is how much it costs for us to actually implement those things. And then you end the letter with, and here are the 3 things or whatever the bullets are, 3 to 5 things that we're going to do next year. So it's like, you did this successfully with this amount of money. What could we do if we had more? This is what we're casting vision for the next year. And that's why this letter works. And I think sometimes people are like, why would I tell them how much money I need? And it's like, because you're casting vision for what you want to do in the future, and everybody needs to know what that costs. So the template, I mean, by the way, Mike writes all of our templates and they're beautiful. So it's like,
Thank
they're
you.
very well written, and it was all done prior to AI. Okay. So
Prior to
it
AI,
was a
that's why it's
human who
working.
wrote it.
Yeah. If you want them, just go to fullyfundedbook.com and download our workbook. You don't even need to buy our book. That we are just giving these resources away as freely as possible. That's why we're doing these YouTube videos and our podcast, and we just want you to be equipped. Information doesn't change anything. It's the taking of action. It's the implementation of that action. One last thing I want to point out, and Mary, this is so important, right? Like sometimes we get so caught up in the details when you're communicating and you're trying to communicate a lot, where you're sharing questions, you're casting vision. It's like church announcements, okay? You're sitting there and they got like way too many announcements. You remember the first thing they say and the last thing. The stuff in the middle, especially if you say too much, gets lost. So just remember that. And that is why we're asking and encouraging you to end with vision. That's what people are going to remember. So we want to invite you here as you watch this video or listen to this on the podcast, go grab that template at fullyfundedbook.com. I want to invite you to rewrite that casting a vision. Just list those things. One thing that was really on our heart, one thing we want to increase, one thing we want to decrease. That's much more progress than you probably think it is, because people are going to remember what you say first and what you say last.
And the couple that I mentioned earlier that was raising $250,000, they sent to us, Mary and Mike, this is like exactly what they sent to us in an email yesterday was Mary and Mike, you have changed our world. Like, this is what we want for you. We don't want fundraising to be daunting, fearful, exhausting. We want it to be something that is really vision casting and it's transforming lives. So we look forward to helping you guys through the process and all of this. So leave a comment. We look at every single one of them. We'll comment and we'll be with you along the journey.
Yeah, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you found this helpful, or any of the other videos that we've created helpful, it would mean a lot to us if you like the video, if you would subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. It helps us get word out about what we're doing. And if you're not in Fully Funded Academy, we hope to see you in there, fullyfundedacademy.com. But for now, take action on this, and we'll see you on the next session.